All right. So welcome back. I hope I'm audible to all of you. All right. So we are live. So we are live again. Give me a thumbs up. Right. Wonderful. So welcome back to this particular channel of Pradhan Academy. Right. So today we are back again with another very important discussion. And today we are going to discuss about the JEE mains paper solution. Right. The recent paper that has been conducted by the NTA. So we are going to see the solution of that particular paper. Right. So we are going to take up those questions and we are going to understand that how the question was, and we're also going to see how you would have to solve that question in order to get to the full marks. Right. Now, if you are someone who is new to this particular channel, I would request all of you to please subscribe to the particular channel, because we are discussing the most important contents, especially for your upcoming JEE mains and advanced examination, right? We're also starting with the NEET batches as well. So also we have already started with the physics as well as chemistry lectures on this particular channel itself, right? So if you are new to this particular channel, I would say please navigate to the channel. Under the live tab, you will find up all the live session that has been conducted so far. Right. So with this part, let's start on today's session. Today we're going to discuss the recent JEE mains paper solution. Right. Is this particular part clear to everyone? Is this part clear to all of you? So we are going to discuss the 3rd April paper. So today we have the 3rd April 2025 paper. Okay. So we have this 3rd April 2025 paper, and we are going to discuss, and this basically the paper was conducted in the evening shift. Okay, so I have the evening shift paper. Okay, so I'm going to show you how the questions were, and along with that, how you would have solved the problems, right? So all these questions that I am taking up are from the 3rd April evening shift paper. Okay, so please try to understand. All right, so let's start the today's discussion on paper solution. Now, before you start with this, if you're someone who is new to class 12, or you have recently given your class 11th examination, I would request all of you to please be with this lecture. If you are in this lecture, then please be with this lecture till the end and try to understand how the questions are being asked in a paper, right? Even if you get a question from class 11, I would request all of you to please try to solve those questions. Okay, so with this part, let's get started, and we're going to discuss the maths portion, right? And after this, you are going to discuss about how you have to solve it, and along with that, we're going to take up some understanding on what you have to remember for your upcoming examinations. Okay, so if you are in class 11th or class 12 and preparing for JEE mains for the next year or next year, then this session is going to be really helpful to all of you. So with these things keeping in mind, let's get started. So today our goal is to discuss the previous year paper, and we are discussing the 3rd April evening shift. I hope this is clear. Okay, so if you are here, so we are going to discuss about the 3rd April evening shift. Okay, please let me know in the live chat how many of you have given the 3rd April paper of the evening shift. Please let me know in the live chat how many of you have given the 3rd April evening shift paper. Okay, so we are going to discuss the MCQ as well as numerical type questions, and along with that, we are going to also understand how you should prepare for your upcoming JEE advanced examination. Right, so this is what our goal for today's class. Let's get started. So very first problem is one of the numerical type problem, right? So please try to look at the problem and try to understand what the question is talking about. So the question is talking about we have to find the limit for a given function which is given as tan x by x whole to the power 1 by x square, and that limit is given as equals to p. That limit is given as equals to p. Now, if we look at this particular question of limit, if we put the value of x, if you put the value of x equal to 0, or if you tend the value of x to 0, then the part inside then this particular part of tan x upon x basically goes to 1. Therefore, if you look at this particular form, this is basically the form of the integral limit, which is basically of 1 to the power infinity form of limit, right? So if you look at this particular limit, it is basically of the form of 1 to the power infinity. Now, I have already discussed about how you're going to solve questions, and basically I've also talked about that what type of questions you're going to expect in your chapters from the chapter of limit. And I have already solved a lot of examples, especially from the format of 1 to the power infinity form. So students who have been watching me from the initial lectures, they are going to do wonderful in the examination. Okay, so with this thing keeping in mind, let's try to do the solution of this problem. So therefore, whenever we have questions of 1 to the power infinity form, the solution is very simple. The answer to this limit, that is p, is given as e to the power limit x tending towards 0 tan x upon x minus of 1 whole multiplied with 1 by x square, right? And that is basically equals to e to the power limit x tending towards 0, and this is going to be equal to tan x minus x divided by x cube, tan x minus x divided by x cube. I hope this is clear, right? Now from here, if you're not able to think on how to solve this question from here, I would request all of you to please see, it is a 0 by 0 form. It is a 0 by 0 form. So definitely no one is going to check you how you are going to solve the question, but you have to definitely come up with the correct answer. So therefore we are going to simply apply the LH rule, or the L'Hopital rule, right? So we are going to use the L'Hopital rule. And if you use the L'Hopital rule, the answer is going to be e to the power. So limit x tending to 0. So differentiation of tan x is basically equals to sec square x minus of 1 divided by 3x square. And then we simplify this. Now sec square minus 1 is going to be equal to tan square x, right? So this is basically limit x tending towards 0. Now sec square x minus 1 is basically equals to tan square x divided by 3x square. So therefore now tan x by x is basically going to 1. So this is going to be equals to, now this particular limit is going to be equal to e to the power 1 upon 3, which is going to be the value of p. Now once you get the value of p, the question is asking for getting the value of 96 times. The question is asking to get to the value of 96 times of natural log of p, which is basically equals to 96 times 1 upon 3, and therefore this value is going to be equal to 32. I hope you all have got the answer as 32. Alright, please let me know how many of you have done this correctly. This is a very, very simple problem. Just you have to apply the process and you have to understand how will you solve this problem, right? So very simple, straightforward problem. Please let me know, is this part clear to all of you? And even if you are not able to solve this, try to understand it. Okay, try to understand how am I solving it, right? How am I solving it? I hope this particular part is clear to all of you. Please let me know this part is clear or not. So I'm assuming this part is clear to all of you, right? Very simple, straightforward. Just you have to apply the concept of how to solve the limits of 1 to the power infinity form. And once you're able to solve that 1 to the power infinity form by doing this operation, that is e to the power. So that is general method is basically whenever you have form of f to the power g of x, which is basically the form of 1 to the power infinity, on putting the limit x tending to some value, then the solution is basically e to the power limit f of x minus of 1 multiplied with g of x, right? That is the way how to solve this question. So that's what I am applied over here. As if you can check that. Okay, so I have simply applied this particular way of solution, and therefore if I try to solve this part down, I got the result as 32. Okay, so you just do it step by step, you will get to the answer, and the solution of this particular problem is going to be 32. I hope this part is clear to all of you. So let's proceed to the next problem, right? So let's try to move to the next problem, and the next problem on our screen is a problem from the relations, right? Now many students generally do ignore the chapter of relations. Now they can understand the relation is also very important, right? Sometimes the questions do come from the chapter of relations, right? Now in this question it is said that given a set, we have been given the set A, which is consisting of the elements -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, now it is said that a relation R is defined such that x is related to y, such that x is related to y if and only if y is basically maximum of either x or 1. So y is related to x if it is maximum out of x or 1. Now it is said that the number of elements required to make it a reflexive relation is given as L. Now what is a reflexive relation? Now reflexive relation is very simple. If you have x comma y belongs to the relation R, then you must have x comma x also belong to the relation R, then only we call that particular relation as reflexive relation. Okay, so therefore now if you look at this particular way of defining, so therefore from here I can write the elements of the relation as either 0 comma 1, or I can write as minus 1 comma 1, or I can write it as minus 2 comma 1, or I can write this as minus 3 comma 1, or I can write it as 1 comma 1, or it will be basically 2 comma 2, or it will basically 3 comma 3. Now those are the following elements that can be possible. I just found out this element just by putting the value of x. So if I put x equal minus 3, then the values of y is basically 1. So that is minus 3 comma 1. If I put the value of x as minus 2, the value of y is going to be 1. So that is minus 2 comma 1. If I put the value of x as minus 1, then the value of y is going to be 0. Sorry, if the value of y is going to be 1. Right? So that is what I've written over here. Similarly, if I take x equal to 0, the value of y is going to be 1. So that is 0 comma 1. And then if you take 1, 2 and 3, so on, these are the corresponding results, right? I hope the relation is clear. Now, if this particular relation is a reflexive relation, then I need the following elements, right? If I have 0 comma 1, then I must have 0 comma 0. Then I must have 0 comma 0 to be lying in the relation. Then 0 comma 0 must be there. So L for reflexive relation, therefore 0 comma 0 must be there. Now along with that, minus 1 comma minus 1 should be there. Similarly, minus 2 comma minus 2 should be there, and minus 3 comma minus 3 should also be there in this particular relation. So if you count up the number of elements required to make this relation reflexive, that L is going to be equal to 4. Now, if you look at the next part, it is saying that in order to make this relation a symmetric relation, the number of elements required is m. So symmetric relation basically means that if x comma y belongs to the relation, then y comma x must belong to the relation in order to be symmetric. Right? In order to be the relation to be symmetric, this particular thing must occur, right? So therefore, if you look at these relations, therefore 0 comma 1 is there, therefore 1 comma 0 must be there. So if I count for the symmetricity, then 1 comma 0 must be there. Similarly, 1 comma minus 1 must be there. Similarly, 1 comma minus 2 must be there, and similarly minus 3 comma 3 should be there. Sorry, 1 comma minus 3 should be there, right? 1 comma minus 3 should be there. Right? So therefore, again you can see the number of elements required to make this relation a symmetric relation. This m value is also going to be equal to 4 again, right? This m value is also going to be equal to 4. Now, and the last statement, if you look at this problem, the number of elements in the relation is n. Now, whenever you have a particular set consisting of n number of elements, the number of relations that is basically going from that particular, so if you just count over here, the number of relations as per this particular condition, I'll find out the number of relations that is basically n is basically equal to 7. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So therefore, these values of L plus M plus N is going to be equals to 4 plus 4 plus 7. That's going to be equal to 15. So therefore, the correct answer to this particular problem is going to be equal to 15. I hope this particular solution is clear to all of you, right? I hope this part of solution is clear. So L plus M plus N is equal to 15. Is this part clear? Is this part of the problem is clear to all of you? Please let me know if this part of the problem is clear or not. Is this problem clear to all of you? Right, you can let me know. If you have any questions, you can please let me know. Okay. See, the question is very, very simple. You have to just apply the concepts before you try to solve this problem, right? So I have already discussed about relations in this particular channel itself. Okay, so you can always check out the videos on my relations. Okay, so from that particular part, you can always revise and try to understand what is the underlying concept to solve any questions of relation. Okay. So is this part clear to all of you? Is this problem clear to all of you? Is this problem clear to all of you? Right? Is this problem clear to all of you? Okay, I'm hoping this part of the solution is clear to all of you. So let's now move to the next problem then. So let's try to move forward to the next problem. So next problem is again another numerical type question. So if you look at this problem, the question is very simple. You just have to apply your basic concepts of coordinate geometry, right? It is said that a circle with a radius r passes through the four distinct points, which is given as 0, 0, k, 3k, 2, 3, and minus 1, 5, such that your value of k is not equal to 0. Then you have to find out 10k plus 2r square, right? That is what you have to find it out. So if you look at this particular part of the problem, and let us try to first of all try to plot the point. So that is basically 2 2 3. Let us this be 0 0 and this be minus 1 5. I'm just arbitrarily plotting it, right? So I can just form a triangle out of it. Now the interesting part, if you look at this problem, that if you join this line, let us call this A, let us call this B, and let us call this C. So interestingly, if you find out the slope of AC and the slope of AB, you will find out that the slope of AB multiplied with slope of AC is equals to minus of 1, is equals to minus of 1. Is this problem clear to all of you? Is this part clear to all of you? Now, please go through this problem. Okay, now whenever these kinds of problems, I have already especially mentioned that whenever you solve any questions of vector algebra or coordinate geometry, it is very helpful if you could draw a pictorial diagram. From the pictorial diagram, you can just try to find it out, and the question becomes simpler if you know certain particular part that is happening in the question, because the question has a certain particular property that is satisfying up, right? So if you are able to see that particular property that is being satisfied, then the question is very simple, right? So what is over here is that a circle is passing through the four distinct points, right? Now if you find out for this particular triangle, since it's a right angle triangle, it is very simple to find out the circumcenter, that is the midpoint of this BC line. So the circumcenter is going to be minus 1 by 2 and 5 upon 2. That is going to be the circumcenter, right? So once I find the circumcenter, that is going to be the center of the circle, passing through all these points, all the points, right? And also it is passing the point k, 3k, right? And it is said that the radius is basically given as r. So I can easily find the radius. The radius is simply equals to distance between this center point and the coordinate a, right? So that can be simplified it out as 1 4 plus so I'm just finding out the distance from the origin also. That will also work. This is also radius, right? It's very simple to calculate out. 1 by 4 plus 25 upon 4, and that is going to be equal to 20. It's a root 13 by 2. Root 13 by 2, right? So that is going to be equal to root under 13 by 2. I hope this problem is clear. So once we get to the radius and once we have the center, then the equation of the circle can be simply given out as x plus half whole square plus y minus 5 by 2 whole square is equals to 13 upon 2. Is this solution clear? So this is basically the equation of my required circle. Okay, this is the equation of the circle. This is the equation of the circle. Now once I have the equation of the circle, and it is said that this k, 3k is satisfying this equation, so therefore let us try to satisfy over here. So k plus 1 by 2 whole square plus 3k minus 5 by 2 whole square is equals to 13 upon 2. Now on solution of this particular problem, this will be a quadratic in k, and once we solve the quadratic in k, this quadratic is going to come out as 10k square minus 14k is equals to 0. The constant is going to cancel out, and therefore ultimately you will get the value of k is equal to 0 and k is equal to 7 by 5, which is satisfying. Now it is said that the k cannot be equal to 0, so this is not solution. The only solution is equals to 7 upon 5. The only solution is equals to 7 upon 5, and therefore the value of this particular problem 10k plus 2r square is equals to 27. Is equals to 27, which is with this option number 3 or C, whatever is mentioned in the paper. Okay, so that is basically the correct answer. So 27 is going to be the correct answer. Please let me know in the live chat how many of you have got the answer as 27. How many of you have got the answer as 27? How many of you are getting the answer as 27? Please let me know. How many of you are getting the answer as option number 3 or 27 as the correct answer? Now option might be different. Okay, option might be different. Try to understand. If you have any question like this, the answer must come out as 27. Okay, so if you recall from your paper, this was the problem that you need to do. Okay, just apply your merit out there, and you are going to get the solution very simple way, in a very simplified manner, right? Is this part clear to all of you? Is this part clear to all of you? All right. So let's try to move to the next problem then. Let's try to move to the next problem. So the next problem we have with us is a question from definite integral. Right. Now I know many students have basically have a difficulty to solve definite integral, but I believe that with the last session that I have already taken up, the definite integral part must be very simplified to all of you. Right. So let us try to proceed with this question. Now, a general thumb of rule is that whenever you are not able to find it out that what actually works out for solution of the definite integral, please try to think of the most important property that we also call as a king property. That is, whenever you have an integral going from a to b for the function f of x dx, it is also given as integral a to b f of a plus b minus x dx, right? So if we just apply the king's property over here, the value of the integral going from 0 to pi, so I can write this as pi 8 times of pi minus x divided by cos of, so the denominator is going to remain the same because pi minus anything is not going to change, and since they are square, so the sign is also not going to change, right? But interestingly, what we are getting rid of is that, so if I consider this is equation number 2 and this is equation number 1, then if I just add equation number 1 plus equation number 2, I'm going to get 2 times of I or integral is basically going from 0 to pi, and this value is going to come out as 8 times of pi divided by 4 times of, so I can also write this part simplified as 3 times of cos square x plus 1, because cos square x plus sin square x is equal to 1. So this is basically going to be equal to 3 times of cos square x plus 1. Very simplified, right? Now in order to solve it further, so therefore these 2 times and this gets cancelled out, so we're going to get 4 pi of it, and therefore now in order to simplify this part out, what I'm going to do over here is that, now interestingly what you can also do is that you can take cos square x as common. You can take cos square x as common, and in that case the integral is going to be equal to 0 to pi. Since 4 pi is a constant, I'm taking it out, so it is going to be equal to sec square x divided by divided by 4 plus tan square x, right? Divided by 4 plus tan square x. What I'm doing, I'm just simply dividing by the cos square x term. Now why I'm doing this? Because it's very simplified. If I consider this tan x as t, sec square x dx is going to be dt, right? So therefore our integral is going from 4 pi times, so this is basically going to be dt, so I'm just substituting t as tan x, so this is basically equal to 1 upon 4 times of t square. And since I have changed the substitution, so I have to change the limits of the integral, and now the limits will basically be going from, now one more thing you can also do over here is that, now since, so you just the integral will just change, so what you can note over here is that, now since this is going to be an even function, you can always break it up, right? Now what I would suggest is that you can also do the limit half, or the half of the limit formula over here, and in that case you can change this limit to this limit of 2 times whatever is there from 0 to pi by 2, because it's kind of a symmetric function, and f of 2 pi minus 2 times, or that whatever basically is there, like for example if you're going from 0 to a, then 2 times of a minus that x is basically the same as that of f of x. So in that case I can change the limit or half the limit, and that is basically equals to like this format. So I'm just changing the limit, and in that case if the pi by 2 is there, so the t values belongs from 0 to infinity, the t goes from 0 to infinity, and in that case I will have one more 2 over here, right? So therefore our solution is going to be equals to 8 pi times, now this is going to be 1 upon 4 t square, 4 plus t square, and that integration is going to be tan inverse of t upon 2, and 1 upon 2 will be outside, right? And within the limit 0 to infinity, and on solution this particular problem is going to turn out as 2 pi square. So this is going to cancel out 4 pi, and this is going to be coming out as pi by 2. This is going to come out as pi by 2. Another pi by 2 is going to make it 2 pi square. So ultimately the solution for this particular problem is going to come out as 2 pi square. So I hope you're also getting the same answer. Please let me know how many of you have got this particular answer. I have just done some kind of properties, so I just have used the simple properties of integrals, right? So if you just go back to the chapter of integrals and if you just revise these properties, then the question is going to be very, very simple. Okay, so I'm just using the simple property. So if you just apply the properties, I've done some few steps over here. So if you just do the steps, you will going to get the solution very simply way. Is this solution clear to all of you? Is this solution clear to all of you? Please let me know if the solution is clear or not. Alright, so I hope this is clear. Let's move to the next problem. Let's go to the next problem. So the next problem over here is another problem from the chapter of 3D geometry. Now so far you have seen the questions are mostly from the chapter class 12 portion, right? Except this question which is basically the coordinate geometry which students study in the class 11th, right? Rest questions are class 12. So that's basically gives you the sense that the class 12 topics are really important. Okay. Now this question is a very straightforward problem. Now this question is very straightforward. So it is basically we have to find out the distance of the point from the line along a particular line. So if you look at the question, so that we have a line like this. We have a line like this. Okay. The equation of the line is given as x minus 4 by 1 is equals to y minus 4 by 0 is equals to z minus 2 by 3, right? And we have to find the distance of this point 7, 10, 11 along the particular line, along a line which is given as x minus 9 upon 2 is equals to y upon 13 upon 3 is equals to z minus 17 upon 6, right? So we have to find this particular distance, right? Very simple. So how do we go for this question? There are multiple ways to solve for it. Either you can try to find out the point of intersection of this particular line with this particular line and then you find the distance between these 2 points, or you can find the perpendicular distance of this particular point on this line and then you can find out this particular angle, and in that way also you can find out this distance is d. So this particular distance is going to be equal to d upon sine theta. D upon sine theta. So this particular distance L is going to be equal to d upon sine theta. In that way also you can solve this question. Okay. So there are multiple ways to solve this question, but I am going to solve in the fast way. Okay. This is the first method. This is the second method. Okay. Now you can always try to explore both the methods to understand this question much better way. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to assume any point on this particular line. I'm going to assume a point on this particular line and that is going to be of the form. So let us call this point as Q and this particular point as P. So any point Q can be given as 2 lambda plus 7, 3 lambda plus 10, 6 lambda plus 11, right? Now this particular point is lying on this particular line, so I will just satisfy this criteria over here. So if you satisfy this criteria over here, which you can simply do it out, right? So I will get the value of lambda to come out as minus of 2. I'm just going to simplify and put it over here, and this is going to come out as minus of 2. So if you just put it on this equation and solve for it, the value of lambda is going to come out as minus of 2. So once you get the value of lambda, then the point Q is simplified and it is basically 3, 4, minus of 11. Sorry, minus of 1. 3, 4, minus of 1. Is this part clear to all of you? So once we have this point Q, once we have this point P, therefore the distance of the point Q and P and Q is going to be square root of, so this is basically, you can find it out, it's going to be 7 minus 3 whole square plus 10 minus 4 whole square plus 11 minus plus is going to be that square, and therefore this answer is going to come out as, so this 4 square plus 5 square plus 12 square is going to come out as, so this is basically 4 square. So this is going to come out as this is basically this is 6 square, right? Sorry, this is 6 square and this 4 square plus 12 square is going to come out as 19 square. So square root of that is going to come out as 14. Okay. So therefore your PQ distance is going to be equal to 14 units. Is this solution clear to all of you? Please let me know, did you get this particular solution as answer as equal to 14? Are you all getting the answer to this question as 14? Alright. Is this problem clear to all of you? Do let me know if you have any questions. Okay. Do let me know if you have any questions. In case you are not able to get it, you can always leave your doubts in the comment section. Okay. I'll be very happy to go through your doubts. Okay. And let your doubt, and I will be very happy to solve your doubts as well. Okay. And in case you like the way we are basically tackling the questions, and we are basically discussing the parts over here. And if you want to get personalized one-on-one doubt clearance, you can always contact the number given in the description box. Okay, so from the description box, you can always contact with me and my team, and you can always set up for one-to-one interaction. Okay. So, and also if you want to get the solutions, and for students from class 11th and 12th, if you want to get this lecture materials and solution, you can always join the Telegram channel and download this content from the Telegram channel. The link is in the description. So please join the Telegram channel from the link in the description. Is this part clear to all of you? Is this part clear to all of you? Right. So let's move to the next problem then. The next problem is a very simple problem. It's a very simplified problem. So what we are going to do over here is that we have to find the summation of this sum s. We're going to find the sum of these numbers, right? So if you look at the sequence over here, the sequence is given as 1 plus 3 by 1 factorial plus 1 plus 3 plus 5 by 2 factorial, and so on up to infinity, right? Now, if you are able to write the general term of this particular expression, which I can always write it as the general term, any Rx term or any nth term, general term, I'm writing the general term, right? So, general term can be given as simply as this is going to be equal to, so it is basically, so, and one more interesting thing is that general term is basically going to be equal to 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus and so on up to the n, right? So n if it is an odd number, right? Or else way it is 2n minus 1. So in case whatever is the last nth odd number, right? That is what you have to understand, right? And if you look at over here, it is basically 2n plus 1. 2n plus 1, right? So and whole divided by n minus 1 factorial, n minus 1 factorial. Now, interestingly, if you find the sum of all the odd numbers till n, or sum of the n number of odd numbers, that is basically nothing but it is equal to n square and divided by n minus 1 factorial. N square divided by n minus 1 factorial. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply use some method of telescoping series approach. That is, I'm going to try to make this format in kind of a recursion series. So, what I'm going to do over here is that I'm going to split n square as n square minus 1 plus of 1 and divided by n minus 1 factorial over here, which I can always write it as n minus 1 into n plus 1 plus of 1 whole divided by n minus 1 factorial. Now, interestingly, if you do this, this is going to be simplified and written as, so this n plus 1 upon n minus 2 factorial plus 1 upon n minus 1 factorial, right? Now, what you can also do over here is that, after you get this particular way, you can always try to make this form of n plus 1 as n minus 1 plus 3, and in that case it will be n1 upon, in that case if you make it n minus 2 upon n minus 2 factorial, and this is going to cancel out with this part, and therefore you will have n minus 3 factorial, 1 upon n minus 3 factorial plus 3 upon n minus 1 factorial plus 3 upon n minus 1 factorial. Sorry, n minus 2 factorial and plus 1 upon n minus 1 factorial. That is what you're going to have it over here, right? Now, you can further simplify it out as, so therefore, this is going to be a general term. This is going to be our general term. Now, if you just apply the summation, now the summation is basically summation of the general term. So, if you apply the summation of the 1 upon n minus 1 factorial, it is nothing but e to the power, it is nothing but e, right? It is nothing but simply equal to e, and this is going to be equal to 3 times of e, and this is going to be equal to again plus e. So, therefore, your solution is going to be equal to 5 times of e, right? If you recall the summation or the series expansion of e to the power x and putting x equal to 1, you are going to get this particular sequence, okay? Just there is a thing that n minus 1, but since the limit is going to infinity, so that n minus 1 is not going to make any difficulty, or n minus 2 or n minus 1 or n minus 3, right? So is this part clear to all of you? So with this, you will have the answer to this particular problem as 5 times of e, that is going to be the correct answer. I hope the solution is clear to all of you. Please let me know if you have any questions, any query. Am I going too fast? Right? Is this part clear to all of you? I hope this solution is clear, right? It's straightforward, simple problem. You just have to apply the sequence, and you have to just apply the basics that you have learned in a scatter of sequence series. So in the series, if you are able to find a general term and you are able to find out a relation between a general term and then take a summation of that, the solution is very, very simple and straightforward. Is this clear to all of you? Is this solution clear to all of you? Please let me know. Right, is the solution clear to all of you? All right, so let's try to move to the next problem then. The next problem is we have with us is basically a problem from the differential equation. Right, now if you recall the classes that I have taken so far, I've said you that repeated many times that the question of first order linear differential equation is going to be the most important, and as you can see that if you have followed my advice, then the question is right onto front of you. Right, so if this question is basically of the form of first order linear differential equation, first order linear differential equation, which has a very standard solution, okay. So if you look at this differential equation given, it is given as dy upon dx plus 3 times of, so I can take 3 times common, and it is basically 1 plus tan square x into y is given as sec square x. So therefore from here I can find the integrating factor is basically e to the power integration of 3 times of, now 1 plus tan square x is basically equals to secant square x and dx over here, I hope you can get it from here. Now simply if this solve this is going to be equal to e to the power 3 times of tan x, that is going to be the integrating factor, and therefore your solution is very simply, it is basically y into e to the power 3 times of tan x is equals to integration of sec square x into e to the power 3 times of tan x dx. Right, now if you consider 3 times of tan x as t, then this is going to be equal to this part along with this dx is going to be dt by 2. So therefore this particular solution is going to be equal to integration of e to the power t dt by 3, right, which is basically equal to e to the power t by 3 plus some constant c. Now ultimately if you solve this, your solution is going to be equal to y into e to the power 3 times of tan x is equals to e to the power 3 times of tan x upon 3 plus some constant c, Now the initial value, that is f of 0, is given as e cube plus 1. So therefore y is basically given as f of x. So putting x equal to 0, y is basically given as e cube by 3 plus 1, So if I just put it over here, I'll get the value of a constant coming out as e cube by 3 plus 2 upon 3, 2 by 3, right. So with this, in order to find the value of function of value at f of pi by 4, that is putting the value of x equals to pi by 4, the solution is going to come out as 1 upon 3 plus e cube by 2 by 3 plus 2 by 3 whole to the power e to the power minus 3, right. I'm just taking the changes, and so therefore this you simplify it out, so it is going to come out as 2/3 times of 1 plus 1 upon e square, 1 upon e cube. Okay, because I have to match the answer, so therefore in order to match the answer I am basically writing it like this. So therefore the answer to this particular problem is going to be option number 2, as you can see, which is going to be the correct answer. I hope you also got this similar answer. If you have got this, then you are going to get the plus 4 marks. This is going to be the correct answer over here. Is this part clear to all of you? Is this solution clear? Is this part clear to all of you? Please let me know if this part is clear or not. I'm assuming this part is clear to all of you, right? So if you understood this session, don't forget to hit the like button. Okay, please hit the like button and try to share these videos among your friends, among your juniors, and you think that the particular person do need these videos, because these videos are for free on YouTube, and you can definitely tune to this video at any time you feel like, right? Very simple, straightforward problem. So once you get to the concept, the question is very, very simple. And if you look at my videos that I have already taken up, you must remember that I have already discussed about that the first order linear differential equation is going to be very, very important, and definitely that is going to come up in the exam. And you can see the question has been already there in the examination. Is this solution clear to all of you? Is this part clear to all of you? Right. So we have been discussing the questions from the JEE Mains 2025 paper attempt 2 from the 3rd April of the evening session. So you can see the paper was more or less very balanced. So you know the concepts, you can solve the questions. Okay, it's very simple, straightforward paper. Okay, once you know the concept, the solution is very, very simple. So I can expect that at least in this particular paper, you can attempt to score a full kind of marks. Okay, at least if you learn the concept and you have done your preparation completely, then the questions are going to be very, very simple. Just do the questions simply way and you're going to get the solutions in a very simple manner, right? I hope this part is clear to all of you. Please give me any feedback, anything. For session 2 क्या क्या करे, क्या क्या discussion for session 2? देखो सेशन 2 के लिए बेसिकली आई ऑलरेडी डिस्कस दैट कि कैलकुलस काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है, ठीक है. और इफ यू लुक एट द प्रीवियस पेपर आल्सो, द वेटेज ऑफ दिस कैलकुलस पोर्शन इज वेरी, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, so Solanki, what you can do is that you can prepare the calculus part. You can prepare the calculus part properly, okay? And please make sure that you are not panic before your examination. Try to be calm. Try to have your calmness. Try to practice some meditation, okay? That is going to help you out. ठीक है सोलंकी, समझ में आया? 4th April shift 2. 4th April shift 2 तो हो गया ना? Yes, I will discuss the 4th April shift 2. Don't worry. I will discuss in the upcoming session. Okay. For that, you have to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. Okay. So if click on the bell icon so that you don't miss out any upcoming notification. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Solanki. सुन के अच्छा लगा. सुन के अच्छा लगा सोलंकी, तुम्हारा मैथ्स एग्जाम काफी अच्छा गया है, ठीक है. आई नो कि तुम अगर बेसिकली जो मैंने चीज बताया है ना, अगर तुमने ढंग से सुना होगा और अच्छे से अप्लाई किया होगा ना, तो क्वेश्चंस काफी सिंपल था. यू जस्ट हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, डू इट प्रॉपर्ली, कीप योर कामनेस एंड दैट्स हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू गेट द फुल मार्क्स. ओके, सो डेफिनेटली एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे होंगे. सो हाउ मच परसेंटेज आर यू एक्सपेक्टिंग? सोलंकी, हाउ मच परसेंटेज आर यू एक्सपेक्टिंग? Thank you, Solanki, for your wonderful words. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, हम लोग कल डिस्कस करेंगे. ओके, अबाउट द 4th April. We'll discuss about the 4th April paper very soon. Okay, ठीक है. तो इसके साथ बेसिकली आई एम डन विद डिस्कसिंग द इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द पेपर. आई विल डिस्कस फर्दर मोर एज आई गेट द क्वेश्चंस. ओके, ठीक है, देखते हैं सोलंकी. दैट्स आल्सो गुड, वेरी गुड, कीप इट अप. ठीक है, नाउ योर प्राइमरी टारगेट शुड बी JEE एडवांस. ओके, okay Solanki, your target should be JEE advance. And Solanki, if you want any like kind of personalized mentorship for your JEE advanced portion, especially how to deal with the advanced portion, you can always contact the number in the description box. Okay, if you go to the description, there is a number. With that number you can contact my team also. Okay, and they will actually help you to provide you guidance regarding how you should prepare. Okay, that will be very helpful to all of you. Anyways, so with this part, let's end our session over here. So I believe that with this particular session, it has given you immense confidence to go for the upcoming JEE mains paper. So with this part,